and take out your cell phone and use them and play with them. They're really fun. But truthfully, students do see them as an attachment to their bodies, and in some of the studies that Christy and I have done over the last, over the last year, students are reporting that when they were allowed to use their cell phones for learning, they felt more connected to instructors and classmates, and they felt like it was contributing to their learning. Even if we don't know that to be true, this is the student's perception of using the cell phone. So in our minds, we can't help but notice that and want to be able to employ it and use it in the classroom.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Peggy.
Have you guys published your study?
It's in right now, awaiting. So hopefully, I do have the article that I can share with everyone if you're interested.
Yeah. I'm very interested.
Yes, we'll share that later today. So here's, I've logged in. You can see I have several polls. I use them for different things. I'm just going to show you a couple of these so that you can get familiar. But teacher-student communication in the classroom, are you most concerned about? I did this poll, I think, with some graduate students that I was giving a presentation to. What is ethics? There's a question that I ask in my public speaking class that I teach over at LCCC, and have the students actually text in what they think ethics is. And it's so interesting because some of them have a similar belief about what it is, and some people are not necessarily way off, but they don't exactly know what ethics means or what it is. Same thing with rhetoric, that's another word. So I think it's fun in the classroom just to pose a question once in a while to see if students are on the same page before you start the discussion. Also, you see this one here, Jeopardy buzzer. It may seem kind of funny, but we actually use this in interpersonal communication for our Jeopardy buzzer. We did a Jeopardy review, played Jeopardy for review for our summit, which is essentially an exam, but I call them summits. And they got into groups, small groups, 4 or 5 different groups, and would designate the fastest texter, and they thought that was so fun, because whoever could text in the quickest would get the buzzer on Jeopardy and get to answer the question. And quite honestly, I don't have buzzer technology in the classroom, so having the cell phone right there was really fun. And then they'd have their little tips about who had the fastest service provider and all these kind of things, but they were very engaged in Jeopardy that day because of this. So let's just create a poll here real quick that all of you can respond to. So I just go over here to create new poll, and I'm going to ask a multiple choice question of you, but you can ask a open-ended question where people can text in as well. You can also do a goal poll, which is kind of interesting. So let's see here. How might you use Poll Everywhere in your classroom? And then I'm going to give you some options. So after I've put the question in,
a new interface.
Yeah, it is. I did this yesterday. You just hit enter, and then I convert it to multiple choice. So it gives you a chance to make a question first. And let's say we're going to use it like as a clicker. Let's say we're going to use it potentially as a buzzer. Can't spell buzzer. Let's say we're going to use it as a means of communicating, or no, not that. I was thinking of something else. As a clicker, as a buzzer, or as a way for students to give feedback to one another, which is another way I've used it in the classroom. Students in my summer public speaking class would get up and give a speech, and then I would have all of the students in the class pull out their cell phones and pull in one good thing they did in their speech and one thing they needed improvement upon, and they got immediate feedback on that speech that they gave to the students, and they wouldn't receive their grade from me for another 2 days. So it was nice to give them that immediate feedback, and you would see these generalities like needs more eye contact or excellent vocal tone, and the students would repeat each other, not knowing that they were, so you could see the general theme of what people thought they should improve and what they thought they did well. So let's say as a feedback mechanism. Okay. So now we've created our 3 options that we'd like to have on the poll, and we hit continue. So it's very easy, as you can see, and the poll automatically pops up right here to show us what it's going to look like. Now, hi, come on in. Now, I don't really like, the thing I love about Poll Everywhere is its interactivity, but from the beginning, you have these numbers, and it's hard to remember what number you're texting to where. But now that we have a license for it, you can actually go in and edit the poll right here, clicking on Edit. And you can put a keyword for this number, so it's much easier to text a keyword than a big long number. It's easier for students to remember anyway. So as a clicker, let's just use click for our keyword. And it'll search, and then it tells me, yes, this keyword is available. And so then I'm going to do that down here as well. Buzzer, let's call it buzz. And sometimes it will tell you keyword taken. And so maybe I've used that before, or maybe it's not long enough. So if I just go buzzer, yep, it's available. So sometimes you have to change it a little bit to make sure the keyword will work. And then let's call it feed. Let's just call it feedback for simplicity. And, oh, that keyword's taken, so let's call it FIBA is available. Let's just do that. FIBA. Okay, and then save poll. And I really like this because you can create it also on the fly in the classroom. Students have a question and you want to know their feedback. Hey, let's put that up on a poll. And then I open it up to the class. I say, who wants to come up and type in the poll? And then the students get all excited because they get to use poll everywhere now. And in my speech class, I've had a lot of students start to use it themselves in their speeches as an attention getter because they can get a free account. So anyway, then from here, I would say, okay, everybody, ready to take the poll. I'd pull it to full screen version, which is what I just clicked on. And I tell students, text the keyword that's listed there to 37607. That's my account. So it knows to go there. They can also go online and do it. And at http://pollev.com. So you can leave a poll. This poll could stay open for a week if I wanted it to. And I could have students who are in an online class poll in sometime during the week, and then we could look at it the next time that we all meet together in class or at the end of the week, and I could share the results with the rest of the class. So go ahead now, take out your cell phone if you haven't done so already, and go to your text messaging option.
Or if you have a computer, you can do it.
Or your computer, you can do it.
Mm-hmm. Sure you did. Maybe.
Yeah, somebody did, so that's great. 3 people. Oh, okay. And in the to field is where you actually type 37607. This is the hardest part at first when students are using this. They're like, what do I put in the to field? Shouldn't there be a person's name? And so you have to teach them that the person's name really is 37607. And then they can type the keyword in. And it should automatically feed in. It's pretty quick, as you can see. It comes in relatively quickly for student feedback. Now, the nice thing about this, I'll also show you what a text message poll would look like. So let's leave this poll and we'll come back to it. You can always do a poll and then come back to it later at the end of class. One student yesterday at the graduate student orientation brought up a good point. She said, but how is that effective for asking at sort of like a quiz question or test question? Because can't students see what other students are doing? And they're all going to go for click if that's the right answer. Yes, but not spontaneously. They can see it, so you're not going to use it as an assessment mechanism, but they could be texting while the responses are coming in, and if they've selected buzzer and that's the incorrect answer, it's going to go in anyway because they've already sent it. So there is a chance that students are going to wait and watch to see what everybody says, and then they're going to poll in with that same answer. But what I've found is students get so excited to text, they're not paying attention to what others are doing. They want to see if they can get their text in first. And they're quickly texting, and then whatever they said is their truthful answer is going to pop up. So you can't really use it for, say, an in-class quiz if you're trying to grade everybody, and besides, it's anonymous. But at least, yeah, it doesn't have to be. But it can be anonymous.
You can't delay this and have it pop up.
Yeah. So I could say the only problem is that you want them to see. You want them to see what the buzzwords are or what the keywords
there
are.
Might be a setting for that, actually.
Yeah. So you could do like a screen capture of here's what you would text in, and then leave that up for students to text in but not show the results right away and have a delayed results. That would be a good thing. But anyway, so this is what the poll looks like, and you see a lot of people are saying I might use it as a buzzer, but I mostly would probably use it as a clicker, and I might even try feedback, one person, and it tells you at the bottom you have total results 7. So even though this says 4, you've got to look here because they've gone to other places. And so you have 7 respondents, and 4 of them said they like clickers, 2 of them said they'd use it as a buzzer, and 1 said maybe for feedback. So it tells you what they say. Okay, so now we want to stop the poll. Let's say it's over. We've decided it's been on long enough. We want to stop the poll. And we can, Christy's going to talk about some of this later, but you could use it as a PowerPoint slide. You could save this information and compare to what students say next year in something. You could share it in a PDF or a document. You could load it to a website. So there's lots of uses for it. Now let's say we were to create a text poll. Just go into create new poll, and it automatically puts all your polls into a list, and you can file them and organize them. Let's say I'm going to ask you how, or what do you like about Poll Everywhere? That's my question. And then I'm going to this time convert it to, let's see, let's go continue. Yeah, and this one just pops up as a text message response, so they can put in a limited number of characters, but I think it's about as many as they can put into their phone. And there's no responses received yet because I haven't said go, but feel free to answer the poll now. In here you can also change your number again to be a keyword by going edit. And right down here we'd like a word. So let's see if poll is taken. Imagine that is taken. Let's say poll 1. That's available.
Is
poll.
Is this just your keywords? Or is
I'm just making these up.
No, is it the entire database at Poll Everywhere's keywords?
That I'm not
polls
sure
take?
about.
I'm not sure about either.
I tend to think it might be the entire database and the reason, or the entire licensing agreement for UW, because I know I don't have this as a keyword yet, so it's got to be someone else.
I think it might be the database too.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's entire database because students only access pollif.com, right? There's no identification that goes to like your account. So
Right.
True.
So
Well, it depends. Yeah, it depends. It depends on how it works, how it's working exactly. But yeah.
Well, 37607 is my account number, so you will have a different account number for each of yours. So it does go. It remembers into your poll, or it automatically inputs there. But the keywords, I think, must come from the entire universe of poll users here at UW. So anyway, this is what it would look like. So feel free to text to poll 1 or to 37607, type in poll 1, and then immediately after it, you can put a space if you want to, but you don't have to. You can type what you'll do, like anonymous feedback. Type your response. And so a lot of students say, do I have to put a space? Is there any special thing? And there is not. But if they mistype poll 1, it will not go into the poll. And it will send them a response that says message can't be sent or something like that. And so you can watch the responses come in. What I do in my class is I discuss each response as it comes in. And students kind of like that. And then it gives time for the rest of those responses to stack up. I say, oh, look, it looks like a couple of us agree that we're going to be using this for anonymous and instant feedback and to participate, so you can kind of build on the conversation. And you can save this. I know in student affairs they're thinking about doing a poll in the student orientation group and the parents orientation group and comparing their thoughts on one question to see if the parents are on base or off base. And so that's an interesting way is to compare polls.
So you have an automatic. That's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, keep in mind.
You tell your students they want to be anonymous, but you make sure they don't have their automatic signature on.
Right.
We'll put their name in there.
So the other concern too is if you have 5 students in class and you start to get to know them, like I did over the summer, I start to know whose response is whose. So I tell them, if you want to make yourself truly anonymous, make your responses, try not to use specific language. Make them clear and concise, but perhaps just use your short version of a sentence. I tell them you don't have to do full paragraphs because some students write in full sentences even when they text message, and so then I know which student that is. And then I don't put anything on a poll everywhere that I think would be too detrimental to someone or too revealing. They're simple questions in class, and I tell them they do not have to participate if they don't want to. So it's always an option in that sense. And now there's a way to track who participated, but before I always used it without tracking who participated.